Canto 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 84, The Sage's Teachings at Kurukshetra, and Text 26. Today we have directly seen your feet, the source of the holy Ganges, which washes away volumes of sins. Perfected yogis can at best meditate upon your feet within their hearts, but only those who render you wholehearted devotional service, and in this way vanquish the soul's covering, the material mind, attain you as their final destination. Therefore, kindly show mercy to us, your devotees. Please repeat. Today we have directly seen, your feet, the source of the holy Ganges, which washes away volumes of sins. Perfected yogis can at best meditate upon your feet within their hearts. But only those who render you wholehearted devotional service, and in this way vanquish the soul's covering, the material mind, attain you as their final destination. Therefore, kindly show mercy to us, your devotees. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's disciples and followers. The holy river Ganges has the power to destroy all sorts of sinful reactions because she originates at the Lord's lotus feet and thus contains the dust of his feet. Explaining this verse, Srila Sridhar Swami says, if the Lord might advise the sages that they need not concern themselves with devotional practices because they are already far advanced in spiritual knowledge and austerity, they thereby respectfully decline such a suggestion, pointing out that only those yogis who have destroyed their material mind and ego by surrendering to Krishna in pure devotional service can attain full perfection. They conclude by praying to the Lord that he favor them in the most merciful way by making them his devotees. Okay. Nama Om Shivaya Krishna Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishi Shunyavadi Paschachade Shitarini. Hare Krishna. Some significant words that we find here. Sadrishima, we have seen. As darshan. Angrim, feet. Aga, sins. Does that have a connection with Agasura? Perhaps. Oga, floods, marsha. You think it might be marsh, but it's not. Tirtha, anybody knows what Tirtha means? That's right, a holy pilgrimage place or pilgrimage site. And in this case, we're referring to the Ganges. And Riddhi is another word that we might know. Riddhi. Riddhi. It's the heart. What else do we have here? Bhakti, of course. Bhakti. Devotion, okay. And upahata, destroys the material mentality. Okay, so the gatim is something we might come upon quite a few times. What's gati or gatim? Destination. But we say param gatim, ultimate superior destination. And then anugrahana means, hey, please be kind, please have mercy. Okay, so the sages are speaking. They continue to be expressing realizations about Krishna who's present before them. And they're taking notice of Krishna's feet, which are described to be lotus-like, and which have actually been activated as walking to penetrate through the layers of the universe. Vamana Dev, who was the dwarf Brahman avatar incarnation, he took 3 steps of land when he was having an ordeal with Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was known to be a member of the Daitya dynasty. That means the tough guys, the gangsters of the universe. But he actually maintained some good habits. One of them was to give in charity. Like everybody remembers Karna in the Mahabharata. Karna, he was a very charitable person, very kind, even to the point where he gave his kundalas and kavacha. Kundalas means earrings, and he had a chest piece that was permanent. That was part of his fixture. When he was born, he had these things that he was born with, and they meant his protection. And so Indra came in the form of a Brahman, like a sadhu, says, you give to the Brahmins, you're known to give to us. And so I'm asking for something very special. And Karna says, what is it? I need your kundalas and your kavacha. And reluctantly he gave them, because he's got a reputation for being a giving person. And that, of course, would frustrate his efforts and means that he would have lost his protective measures in battle. So in the same way, Bali Maharaj was also charitably disposed. When Vamana came to Bali's kingdom, Bali's guru, Shukracharya, said, listen, don't. This is Vishnu. This is Hari in disguise. Don't give him anything. So that confused Bali, because Bali was trained by his own guru. You should give to the Brahmins, give to Vishnu, be kind to them, and so on like that. And of course, Brahmins in a Daitya dynasty, in an environment of demons, would take on a different flavor. They would be teachers that were ill-motivated. So it just, Vamana was a stranger, and he was like a young boy with an umbrella, protecting himself from the sun and the rain. Because in India, you use an umbrella not just for rain, because that doesn't happen too often. Now it's the rainy season. But you can, Brahmins in particular, they'll protect themselves from the blazing sun. So that's, I remember walking, and I was in Northern Ontario, and it was so hot, I just had to, it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I had to use an umbrella. I just took that umbrella, and people found it really kind of odd and strange. Maybe cool at the same time. I remember one guy who was on his motorcycle and just drove along, and when you look back, you had to have a good look. It's got this unusual, number 1, monk, number 2, umbrella, number 3, when there's no rain. Okay, so Vamana came, and he asked for 3 steps of land, 3 paces. And Bali says, okay, are you sure that's all you want? I can give you a lot more than that. I have a lot more at my disposal. And then Vamana said something interesting. He said, well, even if you give me half the universe, it's the senses are never satisfied. It's very profound. I'll never be satisfied. So just 3 paces will do. So in his back, this Shukracharya's guru was saying, don't give. No, you don't give. But Bali Maharaj, being confused by the equivocal, let's say, what seemed to be a contradiction of lessons given to him by the same source, says, my guru says I should give in charity, now he says I should not give in charity. I'm confused, but I'm going to stick to my habit, and I will give in charity, 3 paces of land. So he did. Vamana then grew, he became a giant, and much more than a sunflower plant, and it became huge. It covered half the universe with one base, the other half, second half with the other one, and the third pulley got it. Okay, I get it, I understand. Okay. You want to know where to put the third footstep? On my head. Okay. So he did. Vamana did, gently. And so, in any case, when Vamana was walking the universe, he poked through the layers of the universe, which is a layer of earth, a layer of fire, water, etc., and then the more subtle elements. And that's what water from the Garbhodaka ocean spilled in and became what we know as the Ganges. When the water leaked through, it happened to hit Shiva in meditation, and he absorbed this water in his matted hair. He held it all together. And then at some point Shiva, he actually released his, he shook his hair, and it all sort of fell in one spot, and that became a stream, which became the Ganges that flows through a portion of the earth. And that is one of the most sacred places on the planet. And so that is the connection between Krishna's feet and the Ganges. And therefore it is sacred. And we look at some of the Leelas, the pastimes in Chaitanya Leela, and it is said that Jagannath is God in the form of wood, and it is Krishna who's in the liquid water as the Ganges. That's God as water. So that's how we are to look at these manifestations of God in water and wood. You'll find them present everywhere practically. But it's actually quite easy to worship water. If some of you have the good fortune to go to Haridwar, you go to what's called the Haripuri, and there's lots of steps that take you to the Ganges. So every night they have a big arti, and that arti is like, it was massive flame by one of the pujaris, and offers that flame to the water. And then people also get a chance, because it's like a sponsorship program. They also have these little diyas. You know what a diya is? It's the flame with ghee in it. And it's put into a little earthen cup in a terracotta. And that's placed on a lotus petal. And then that, after the arti is over, people go and offer it, and then it flows down the river. All these little lights go, take their own little course and go like this. It's absolutely beautiful. When I was there, I guess the last time I went there, I was with about 2 or 3 other devotees, yeah. And they were from Canada. I had 2 brahmacharis with me. And I said, what's missing here? It's kirtan. They had an arti, and I think there's a big recording of Om Jagadish Hare, etc., common bhajan sung in most Hindu temples. And then after that was over, people dispersed. So we decided to get in there. We did our kirtan, and people were stopping. Instead of just moving along to their destination points, to their gati, they actually stopped for a bit. And the people that were most enthusiastic about our kirtan were people of 2 kinds. One were the homeless folks, and the other ones were another kind of homeless folks. It's the sadhus in saffron. They were enjoying it, Hare Krishna, like anything like that. So we felt we inserted the Sankirtan system at that program. It would have been nice if they could keep it up after the arti's over, do some kirtan. That's actually at the heart of Kali Yuga, this age of darkness. It is Sankirtan Yajna. I remember when Satsvarup Maharaj came to join us here, 1976, I think. We had 2 big Vyasa sons, Prabhupada was pushed forward, and we had one on either side, and we sat out one. And he gave a little introductory speech. And it was based on the verse from the Bhagavatam. Kirtanad eva Krishnasya mukya sama param vijay. Well, which means, let's start from the beginning. Kalera dosha. Dosha means, well, let's say wrong points, or let's say negative. Kaler means Kali. Kalera dosha nidhi raja. Right, my dear king, talking to Parikshit Maharaj. Shukadeva Goswami saying, the good thing about this age is that you can get clean, just like somebody can say, COVID-19 is negative. It's all negative. But the good thing about it is that it's allowing the Ganges to get cleaned up. Now you can look at the light side of everything. So Satsvarup Maharaj was talking about this, the one good thing about Kali Yuga, the place of darkness, the ocean of faults. One good thing is the kirtan. And that's what works. I attended a wedding which was done on a Sunday morning, where two devotees got together and in matrimony, and we had Atma Tattva, who's a godbrother, and he always does a good job at these things. He speaks well, he's kind of a real joker. And I remember he was starting to do the mantras and everything like that, and go through all the physical, gestures with the paraphernalia that's there, Dharma Pranapro. And, he made a couple of remarks. He was saying to the devotee, his name is Karna, he's the one that's getting married. He said, hey, you look so good, I feel like marrying you. And everybody had a good laugh, because he's a joker. But then he said something that wasn't a joke, it was much more serious. He said, okay, I'm doing all these rituals, but if you all chant Hare Krishna, then that's the only thing that works. It's the only thing that works in this Kali Yuga. Recently we had two devotees last Saturday who passed away. One in the East End and one in the West End. And we, devotees had to arrange for pundits to be there. So one of our own pundits, Ramananda Roy, who took care of this thing. And there's standard rituals that goes along with doing the last rites. It's one of the samskars. But the most important thing behind these samskars is the chanting of Hare Krishna. If somebody tries to convince you otherwise, that all these rituals are it is the param gatim, it is the supreme destination, then they're actually wrong. The real purification process for Kali Yuga is the chanting of Hare Krishna. When Prabhupada had Krishna Balaram Mandir opened up, when it was at the inauguration of the deity installation of Krishna Balaram, he had invited all the local pundits so that people would accept this as bona fide, that this whole ritual is blessed now. But then Prabhupada, he encouraged his own disciples, men and women, to chant, even though they weren't so expert in these rites and so on practices. He writes, by the way, write W-R-I-T-E-S, he writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that I have considered that the chanting of Hare Krishna is more important than the other rites, the rituals and so on like that. So this is one thing to consider, that the mantra always has to be there with us. It must accompany us in our travels and throughout our daily activities. Somebody asked me to give a class today in Florida about